I just had to like do stupid shit because it's so fucking dumb sometimes. All right, welcome back, everybody. Another episode of my whatever these are. I don't know yet. Episode 3. Who's even counting? Who cares? Today we're gonna be talking about something that I thought was super, super bizarre, and I just found out about this. Post-mortem photography, as the name says. We're learning about dead people who had their photos taken in an era that I don't know yet because I have yet to look into any of this as usual. You know, every time I read postmortem, I keep thinking of postpartum. We're learning about postpartum photography. It probably exists also. God damn it, that 100% exists. Postpartum, no, postmortem photography. I don't know. I don't remember where I found this on TikTok or something. Was it TikTok? It's probably TikTok. And I just was like, you know what's crazy is a lot of the photos and stuff that are surfacing around the internet and probably in books and stuff. Since this was a thing in the early 1900s, 1800s, whatever. They're probably photos that we've all seen 100 times and didn't realize that the people in them were actually dead. Obviously, everyone in those photos are dead now, but in the photo, they were dead during the photo. So I find that really, really bizarre. Before we go any further, if you haven't seen my last video, Bureau, I am not sponsored by them. Get yourself a Bureau. I'm going to be cracking these open in most of my videos just because I love the idea and the message. Go watch that video. I will try and remember to link it down at the bottom, but as we all know probably by now, I've said this thousands of times in multiple videos, and I never ever link stuff at the bottom, but feel free to check because it might be there. Postmortem photography is a practice of photographing. That's going in there. Postmortem photography, god damn it, is the practice. Oh god, is the practice of photographing the recently deceased. Oh my God. This practice was common in both Europe and America, beginning in the 1830s. I think that's when I was born, and lasted up until the 1930s. That's when my great grandparents were born. Post-mortem photography could be done in different ways. For some photos, the body of the deceased was photographed lying down, oftentimes in their casket. Does that mean any person at a funeral who's taken pictures of their beloved person, beloved one, whatever, dead is that basically the same thing at this point? Yeah, but this was like a trend. But I'm just saying, like now that's the same thing. Anyways, in these ones, it is clear the subject is dead. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The reason why I was so into this is there are ones that we're gonna get into where they pose them where you wouldn't realize the person's dead till you actually pay attention to the photo and look at like how it's propped up and stuff, which I think is crazy. I think it's really, really bizarre. Again, I wouldn't have even known the people in these photos were dead if I wasn't told that that was a thing and that they were dead. I find that very crazy. In others, the bodies will be propped up using a posing stand and a head clamp apparatus in order to pose the body in lifelike poses. Again, you wouldn't know these guys are dead. They could be seated or standing upright, but it was not often that the bodies were posed standing up. So they didn't do it too often. Okay. And the purpose for them doing this in the 19th century, people had a different attitudes towards death than we do now, since it was much more common. Yeah, I guess people definitely died earlier. That would make sense. And there were more people dying young. Also makes sense. Postmortem photography was a new way to remember and mourn their loved ones after they passed. They were often sent to other family members who were not able to see the deceased before the body was buried. The death portraits were also used as a way to verify death. Death certificates were not yet common. Interesting. I find that really weird. Already off rip, looking at this photo, there's no way all the people in this photo are dead. I have a feeling it's the one on the end here that's dead. It was common for families to have. Wait, it says it was common for families to have lots of children. Yeah, households back then had tons of children, usually because most of them died or they needed more people on the farm. It was common for them to die before their fifth birthday. Oh my God. Good job, Timmy. You made it past 5. You lived past the average lifespan of a child. And he's just over there like sucking his thumb like with dirt and worms in his fucking nails. Come on. What the hell were they doing to the children before they were 5? In this picture, the youngest child has died and was propped up against the stand for the picture. See, what's crazy is the only reason why I thought that the young one in this one was dead was because of the way that the eyes look, where the rest of them, their eyes are actually open. That's insane. I have to screenshot all these too. I'm gonna more photos of dead people and murderers on my computer. Here we go. I just can't get over the idea of it's little Billy Timothy's birthday, and his dad comes in. Good job, Timmy. He's got a big wheat in his mouth and a cowboy hat. You made it past 5. That's the average death rate of a child. And he just slaps him over the fucking head and is like, "Go back to work, Timmy." I can't get over that idea of most of them died before 5. Although to be fair, they were probably dying of like actual sicknesses, because back then you just died because you died. You died a death. Photographs of loved ones taken after they died may seem morbid to the modern sensibility. Yeah, that's what I was saying. But in Victorian England, so this wasn't in America. They became oh well, now I gotta rethink the idea of the dad and Timothy. Uh, Listen, if you watched my last bureau video, you will realize that when I try to do an English accent, it comes out Australian for some reason, and I can't do it. But I'm not even going to attempt it. No, no, no. I was gonna say crunk and chips, but I always say croquet every fucking time. I'm like, why? It's not the accent. It's like Joey. I almost said from Family Guy. Joey from Friends, when he's like, I could do a Southern accent. He's like, come on, man. And it's a Jamaican accent. You know what I'm talking about? No. Okay. Well, they know what I'm talking about. All right. Now I'm just thinking of like an English chap comes in, he pulls his tie up, and he's like, Timothy, you made it past 5. Like now it's not as funny as like the redneck guy. It's just like, all right. So in the images that are both unsettling and strangely poignant, poignant, poignant. The fuck does poignant mean? I swear to God, if this means something like beautiful, why didn't you just say that word, right? Like, what the fuck does this mean? Evoking a keen sense of sadness or regret. My guy, why the hell didn't they just say strangely unsettling and sad or keen? Like poig it's like authors when they add in a word that no one knows just so they can be like, I know this word. It's like rappers who try to sound too fucking like smart. Like stop. Just stop. Anyways, families. That's my TED talk. Families pose with the dead, infants appear asleep, and consumptive, whatever, young ladies. The diseases not only taking their life but increasing their beauty. Whatever the fuck that means. Taking their How the hell does a disease kill you but make you more beautiful? Victorian life was surrounded with death, epidemics such as, and I know I'm gonna pronounce this wrong. I looked up all the definitions. So Victorian life was surrounded by death, epidemics such as, I'm gonna butcher these, uh, diphtheria, typhus, and cholera, whatever. And the Queen in 1861 made mourning fashionable. Okay, so the Queen in 1861 was like, "Yo, we're gonna make, instead of mourning being sad because everybody keeps dying from these diseases, we're gonna make it fashionable and turn it into a statement, and we're gonna dress them up and make them look like they're still alive," which is really, really weird. Queen Victoria. Now we know Victoria's Secret. She was dead. And again, I'm probably pronouncing these wrong. I could care less. I am not a doctor. I did not go to school for this. That's why I'm googling it, and you're watching me on YouTube because you didn't go to school either. Diphtheria, typhus, and cholera are all diseases with different symptoms and causes. I almost said cases. Diphtheria, a bacterial infection that can cause sore throat, fever, swollen neck glands, and weakness. A thick gray coating can form in the throat, making it difficult to breathe and swallow. Diphtheria can be fatal for unvaccinated people, especially children under 5. Goddamn, Timmy. Goddamn, Timmy. Timmy. Let's make it past fucking 5. Develop your kneecaps. That's what it is. They didn't have kneecaps yet. Don't, how you gonna side eye the camera? They can't even see you. And you have a camera. It's just a camera for the audience. It's like whoever it just cuts to whoever's here when I'm filming, and it just gives their reaction. The CDC recommends that travelers. It says get a booster. Swear to God, my brain said get a boner. So get a booster shot of the diphtheria toxoid vaccine every 10 years. All right. So apparently they got a little stuffy nose and a sore throat and they all died. And that was a bacterial infection. And what's crazy is 1800s, early 1900s, people just throwing their shit out the window. Well, so the plague was bad because there were obviously they were just piling. There was so many people were dying that they couldn't get rid of them and bury them fast enough, so they would just pile them together. But that got bad because they were throwing all their feces and stuff out the window because they're so, which is also where the guy stands on one side, girl stands on the other. Actually, comes from where the shit and piss was on the sidewalks, not because whatever other bullcrap people have come up with. But it didn't get bad because the disease was so bad. It got bad because the rats were eating the piss and shit and were getting into the dead bodies and eating all the bodies that they were piling up, which then the rats spread it all over. That's why the plague was so bad. The disease itself wasn't actually that serious. It was the living conditions. That's a really, really interesting one too. All right, so cholera, a bacterial infection caused by contaminated food or water. I was just talking about this the other day. A lot of the times, and not the 1900s, things changed, but like 1800s, 1700s, that Western era, people did not drink water because it was extraordinarily dangerous. So everyone just took shots of whiskey. Like everyone just drank alcohol. That's what they drank because it was everything. It's alcohol. Then nothing's alive in it. It's just kill. It's alcohol. So people drink alcohol because you drink water, you're probably gonna die. And I'm not surprised that their food was bad too. Symptoms includes diarrhea, vomiting, dehydration, cramps, sunken eyes. Oh, I have that every fucking day. John has most of these symptoms. It could be fatal from circulatory failure or other bodily functions. Wow. All right, cool. So again, I can only imagine Timmy at his 5th birthday where in a time where they couldn't drink water and his not only is his dad country and he's coming in off the farm and he's got his big hay, but now he's drunk too. That scenario is great. It's great. He just comes in babbling Jay. He's just knocking stuff over because he's working on the farm and he's got sun poisoning because he's been in the sun all day. And he comes in for his 19th shot of whiskey in the past 30 minutes. And he's just drunk. And Timmy grew his kneecaps. So now he doesn't get all these diseases and he doesn't have to get set up as a fake body in a photo. That will haunt me in my dreams for the rest of my life for making fun of this. All right, so typhus is a condition that can cause a fever, rash, headache. This just sounds like being in the heat too long. Symptoms vary depending on the type of typhus. Typhus is usually treated with antibiotics. All right, so that's what most kids were dying from, but that's what most people in general were dying from then. Trinkets and memento moris, literally meaning remember you must die. Took several forms and existed long before Victorian times. Yeah, no shit. So long exposure when taking photographs meant that the dead were often seen more sharply than the slightly blurred living because of their lack of movement. Oh, wow, they're so smart for that. So anyone who's big in the photography, you know what long exposure shot is. People who aren't big in the photography, you know those really cool photos where the lights are, you see the light. That's how they get those photos. Where you have like the highway and you just see the lights of the cars. It's long exposure is what it is. Meaning that the lens of the camera stays open longer than like a split second. It just stays open and brings in all the light. That's how people who do like light paintings, that's how it works. But that makes sense because they're dead; they're not going to move. So, for example, you can actually see it in this photo here that it's extraordinarily clear and it's focused on the dead girl in the middle and the dad and mom. this is an ideal dad for Timmy's dad. He just looks like Timmy's dad in this photo. Is 100% like out of focus and blurry because they were probably sitting there for 2 minutes, moving 30 seconds, shit, 10 seconds. You could see blurriness. Long exposure. I wonder why they chose long exposure though. Oh no, that's interesting. On some occasions, eyes would be painted on the photograph. Oh my god, I thought they were gonna say eyes were painting on their eyelids. I'm like, yo, that's bogus. Uh, after it was developed, which was meant to make the deceased more lifelike. So locks of hair cut from the dead were arranged and worn in lockets and rings. Death mask were created in wax. What the hell's a death mask? All right, so this is saying that before they started doing these photos, they would do like kind of like we do with ashes, but they would do it with hair or things like that. On necklaces, jewelry, and I know people have like I think one of the cool ones is like a little ash thing that they wear in their necklace. I think that's pretty cool. But they also did something called a death mask, which is a casted wax mold of someone's face. Kind of like how I know you guys have seen that trend that was probably big in what, like 2017, maybe even before that, 2015. I can't keep things straight after COVID anymore. Where people would put their hands in the wax and hold it, and then you pull your hand out, and you got a molding of your hands, so you got a wax candle, whatever, right? They would do that at people's face. No way. This is a whole nother story here. Death mask. I mean, that's crazy. Now I know what it's like when a YouTuber's like, I gotta make this sponsor video. Hold on. Today's not sponsor. All right, a death mask is a cast or impression of a deceased person's face, typically made of wax or plaster. They are created by applying thin layers of plaster or wax to the face and the head of the deceased after it has been oiled or greased, obviously. The mask is then lifted off in multiple pieces and reassembled to create a mold. The mold can then be used to create multiple casts of the face. Okay, so by the time you actually get the item, it's not actually made of wax. But in the mid 1800s, photography was becoming increasingly popular and affordable, leading to momentum mori for photograph portraits. Okay. The first successful form of photography was a small, highly detailed picture on polished silver. Interesting. Was an expensive luxury, yeah, because it was on silver, but not nearly as costly as having a portrait painted, which previously had been the only way of preserving someone. Yeah, obviously. As the number of photographers increased, the cost fell. Less costly photos started around the 1850s, such as using thin metal, glass, or paper rather than silver. Why would they need glass and metal? And now I gotta understand how these cameras worked. See, because that I don't even know what a direct positive process creating a highly detailed image on a sheet of copper plated with a thin coat of silver without the use of a negative. Oh, so this was their first way of doing like instant photos. So you don't have to have like, okay, that makes sense. The process required great care. The silver plated copper plate had first to be cleaned and polished until the surface looked like a mirror. That still doesn't explain how the photo was like. Okay, so they would clean and polish it, then sensitizing the plate with iodine vapors in a closed box until it turned a yellow rose. That's I don't know if you guys ever seen those big old camera boxes where they put the towel or the big rag over them or whatever. Uh, Developing the image with hot mercury vapor. That's why the puff of smoke would pop out. Washing the plate with a saline solution to fix the image. The resulting image was a direct positive on a highly polished copper sheet. That still makes no sense to me at all. In this case, one twin has died while the other survived. The dead baby is surrounded by flowers. Damn, I thought the one that was alive was the fucking dead one. Well, I'm going to hell. So I'm starting to get the picture that a lot of these are kids, which is a little creepy. So death portraits became increasingly popular. Victorian nurseries were plagued with measles diphtheria, and scarlet fever, Scarlett Johansson. Scarlett Johansson, stay away from those kids, please. All of which could be fatal, obviously. It was often the first time families thought of having their photographs taken. That's interesting too, thinking the fact that, well, we never thought about having a photo until our kid died. So obviously, as healthcare improved and life expectancy of Timothy, instead of having to be 5, he now has to be 10. As the expectancy of children's oh my god, as healthcare improved and life expectancy of children got better, the demand of death photography diminished. If I wanted to known any better, I would have thought this guy was alive. Uh, but he's not. He's standing completely upright, and it actually has a photo of the machine that they would use to prop their heads up and their backs up, which I think is really bizarre that someone had to create something like this for photos, to prop up like bodies and stuff. I would not have known that that guy was dead in that photo at all. Some of these other ones, the more I look at them, it's literally, yeah, that's a picture of a dead person. So I have to figure out, I have to guess. So I'm guessing if the person's either dead or if there is a dead person in it or if there isn't, like at all. So some of these photos are just, okay, so some of these photos are post mortem photography and some are just photos from the 1900 era that look the exact same. This is why I was so interested in it because like I said, I couldn't even tell the difference in some of these photos. In my personal opinion, oh man, this is tough. So the guy, in my opinion, the way he's standing looks really stiff and dead, but it's the leg placement and the hand placement on the chair that makes me think that he's alive. But mainly, it's this dead stare he's giving looks too legit. The girl on the right, however, her eyes look fake, like they painted them on, and her arms kind of bent up, but the hands on the shoulders. See, I don't know. If I had to take a wild guess, I would say that the guy on the left is dead. No, none of them are dead. So they're both alive, whether it was post mortem photography or not. St- and that was why I found this so interesting because, like I said, there are so many photos I've probably seen online through the years, not realizing that the person in the photo was already dead. I mean, obviously they're dead now, but in the photo they were actually dead, and you wouldn't even know. It's Yes, some would be easy, but some of them I'm like, dear God, you couldn't tell me that person's alive. The second one, the man with the beard, they got him looking really, really good. They got him in a nice suit, but he's 100% dead. Yeah, that's a photo of a dead man. Which I'm gonna be honest, they made him look good. They got some his hair. No, I saw the writing on the side, but I didn't read it. If I would have turned my head. It's fine. Purely based on it because his eyes are closed. And I believe no person at this time was smiling for photos or anything because it wasn't like it wasn't like a normal thing to really take photos for real. All right, so funny enough, this photo was one of the photos I looked up. The girl on the left is dead. The girl on the no, this was the one that was in the article I was reading. The girl on the left is dead, and that's the one earlier in the video I said they all look alive except for this one on the end purely because of the eyes. The girl on the right, and it could just be a cast shadow, but it looks like there's something behind her foot and her eyes look a little wonky. So I'm gonna go with the girl on the right. Both the girls in this photo are living. And it's just the lighting of the eyes then. Wow. See, what the fuck? You don't even know. This next one is obviously a photo of a dead baby. Yeah. Because most of them were dead children. Terrifying. Is this even allowed on YouTube? Uh, the girl in the middle's dead. Her eyes are painted on. That's scary. That's so scary. No, because there's definitely some type of horror story to be done here. That's terrifying. Dear God, this is genuine. I'm not even joking. My skin's genuinely crawling. These photos actually terrify me. Uh, Girl in the chair with flowers on her. Her eye looks open, but she's got flowers on her. I'm gonna go with that. She's dead. Living. This is a good photo then. They just really had her up. They just had her. This guy in this photo's dead, and I could tell because there's a thing behind his leg holding him up. There's a stand. See, you can hardly see it, but now that I know what to look for, If you saw this photo, you would have been like, "Oh, that's just a guy. That's just a dude, and he's taking a photo in this house, and he's holding up this cool chair." No, you could if you look behind his leg, there it is. It's a stand. That's actually genuinely crazy because the guy in the first photo, the same leg was bent, and he was standing on that back leg, the same exact way the guy at the bottom was standing. You know what I just thought about though? This first photo, really, really grainy. The girl and the guy, they're both alive. The last photo, the guy's dead, really, really clear. So this guy is saying that not only did they use the posing stands for dead people, they also use them for the living. So sometimes it can be a little misleading on which one is dead and which one is alive in the photos. Because he was saying that's basically the same as using like a microphone stand or a guitar stand. They're just cast iron that hold you up. Uh, Because yeah, this photo apparently they're using prop stands, although the girls were wearing such big dresses you could never see. Oh, okay. So in Iceland, the Nordic, is that how you say it? Nordic countries, the most popular time to do postmortem photography was in the 1900s, and it died out by the 40s. So a quick little 40 something years for it to be popular in Iceland. I feel like you don't ever really hear anything in Iceland. We should do a deep dive on just Iceland. I don't know. I feel like there's nothing going on in Iceland. When I first heard of this on TikTok, I definitely thought that this was just some really weird thing that some photographer was like into. Like it wasn't a commonly used practice. I thought this was like a really bizarre, weird thing that some guy was into that not a lot of people knew. I didn't realize this was a common practice then, which actually makes it a bit less crazy and a bit more interesting considering the fact that I just couldn't imagine someone in our era doing something like that. Imagine you're at a funeral and they're propping them up for photos. I couldn't imagine that. Fuck no. When I'm dead, throw me in a trash bag. Just throw me outside. Just throw me out there. I'll be fine. All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I don't know. I have some really cool ideas coming up for some more videos like this. If you guys have any ideas of random things that you saw online, something that you think's crazy, whatever it is, comment, send it to me. We'll do a video where I deep dive into it and learn about it. Whatever. Let me know what you guys got. I'm done. It's late. It's too late to be filming this. I'm done. We're done. We're done. We're done. We're done.